timelines for the announcements of presidential results. I will ask the Vice Chair to answer the second question. Can you repeat your question?
Nauliza kwamba kwa majina naitwa Emmanuel Kilongo kutoka TV Magharibi, na swali langu ni kwamba katika uchaguzi huu tunaona kwamba tume ya IEBC ilikuwa imewaajiri wahudumu wa muda ambao watalipwa na pesa za Mkenya, lakini tunaona kwamba tena kuna uchaguzi mdogo ambao utaandaliwa katika kaunti ya Mombasa, Kakamega, West Pokot na Kachiliba. Je, ni nani atakayekaramika kuwalipa wale maafisa ambao watakusimamia zoezi hilo la uchaguzi? Ni Mkenya, IEBC ama ni nani? Asante.
IEBC ni ya Wakenya. So itasimamiwa na IEBC na Treasury, kwa sababu hii mambo ya by elections ni kawaida. Hata 2017 kulikuwa na by election tulifanya. Kwa hivyo itasimamiwa tu kwa sababu makosa imekoseka na ni lazima tuendelee.
You can take the questions from that side coming to this side.
My name is Hilary Orino from the French news agency AFP. I know you say that voters are still ongoing, or rather still on the queue at the moment. Are you worried that the voter turnout is going to be much lower than you saw in 2017?
There are many reasons that may cause low voter turnout. But as of now, if you are at 56.1%, we are doing well because the voting is still going on. I don't think there is low voter turnout, and in some areas, the voter turnout is quite high. So I don't think we have a problem with the voter turnout. At 56.7 now, I think by the time we close the stations and we get the final, and this was at 4 o'clock, I'm sure we are going to hit beyond 60%.
Another set of 3.
Yes.
I'm Kennedy Wandera from Voice of America. I have 2 questions. One, on the KIEMS failure. What is the remedy? Is it something that is really putting them back?
William Samoei Ruto. Okay. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. As you can see, there is no spoiled vote because the marks were within the box, and all of them have got the IEBC stamps.
That you have tried the pack-up machines to use in that case.
What
exactly was the problem?
Let me request the CEO to answer that.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me correct you. We had 55,100 KIEMS kits, and we had 55,100 KIEMS kits, and we deployed 46,229 for the polling stations. So we had 6 backups. So if you add that, it will not give you 14,000 as you indicated. But for those areas that we deployed KIEMS kit, we deployed printed registers because even the backups were tested, and there was a challenge. And the challenge basically was arising from the logistics. And we remember we said that for you to duplicate the SD cards, you will have to pick the biometrics for certain region, but biographic for the whole country. So if you take it to a different place, then it means that that machine will not work in that specific area. That was actually one of the biggest challenge, and it was brought about due to delays in dispatching the latest materials. You remember that some of the KIEMS kits were actually held in our warehouse because of the issue of the stickers. So that could have also have contributed to that. So it's a challenge that we actually saw at Kakamega, and it is actually attributed to that. But as we are speaking, I think we have resolved that problem. In terms of results transmission, we have already airlifted the other SD cards. You can be able to do results transmission from there. And we are also going to increase time for those specific areas so that they can vote for equivalent time lost. Thank you very much.
All right, my name is Dr. Caroline Karugu. I'm right now Odinga's Deputy Chief Agent. Two questions. One, we have had you make piecemeal declarations about the use or non-use of the physical register. In some polling stations it's been used, in others it's actually prohibited. Can the IEBC be clear on what is supposed to happen with the physical register? One. Two, there is the Form 32, the KIEMS kit verification form. In some places, in Kisumu, in Kisii, in Homa Bay, our people have been turned away because the IEBC does not have that form. First of all, that form is illegal because it is not, it's an administrative form for the IEBC, but not a legal document per se. So I think it's very unfair that our voters in those areas which we consider as strongholds are being turned away. So what will IEBC do, especially for those counties that I have named, so that we can be able to remobilize people to go back to the polling stations? We would demand from our side at least a 2-hour extension from the 6 p.m. deadline. Thank you.
Okay, we did communicate with the returning officers and requested them to communicate to the presiding officers that that people should not be turned away. So if that has happened, I think we can deal with it, and I would think that if you have specific cases and specific areas, we are ready to cooperate and work, because we do not want to deny anybody his democratic or her democratic right to vote. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here. I'm Leila Mohammed from NTV. I have 2 questions. They're both taking cue from what was announced earlier on the issue of insecurity scenarios that have been experienced. There was a question we raised earlier about 2 possible candidates for MCA position who were arrested in Mombasa County. What is the situation now? And are there any other instances where you've experienced some sort of, let me not call it violence, but issues around security? And number 2, the question of those voters who had gone to polling stations and they had been voters in those stations before, but today they were turned away because their names were not in the voter register. Do you have any clarity on those 2 issues? Thank you.
I will deal with the last question. That in May, June, we offered Kenyans an opportunity to verify their records and check where they are in the register or they wanted to transfer. We offered an opportunity to Kenyans everywhere to check their to verify their details. And if they didn't, then they carry the burden of their failure to vote. I'll ask the Vice Chair to answer the first question.
I'll deal with the security issue that in Mombasa, it has been reported that 2 candidates fought, and since we are working in partnership with the police and all the security agencies, so they were put in police custody. Yeah, because every one of us is maintaining law and order.
Commissioner. My name is Waweru Nyambura from Minoro TV. After the challenges we've had with the KIEMS kit, how reliable are they in results transmission, which the court said that was the most challenging part of the previous election?
We are talking about 200 KIEMS kits. And those 200 KIEMS kits where there were failure, the CEO has confirmed that other KIEMS kits have been airlifted. That means out of the 46,000 polling stations, including the ones that had failed and now new ones have been delivered, there is not going to be any problem in terms of result transmission. You understand? Yes.
Yes, I'm afraid of I'm a policy analyst. I wanted to check why is it that application of the voting processes doesn't look very uniform. And can you assure Kenyans that we are going through the same election in all regions? Second question is that has technology taken over us as a nation or as IEBC, or IEBC is in charge of technology and the election? Thank you.
Excuse me, can you repeat your first question, because we are not using any different...
The first question is that...
The first question, yes.
You had some areas, this was allowed, some areas, this was disallowed. Some saying was this policy being implemented selectively, where some people are doing A, others are not allowed to do A. And then the second question is that from the failure of technology, where technology has become a bottleneck in the voting and the transmission, is the technology taking over IBC, or IBC is controlling technology?
I think the first question, IEBC is using the same system for election in all the polling stations. We do not have two systems. I do not have two different policies. It is one, it has been explained before, and it has not changed. So I think it is your imagination, which is good, to think that we are using two systems. We are not using two systems. On the second one, about technology, IEBC using technology to run the elections. It is that simple. And I don't want to add to that. Yes, we are using technology to facilitate the election.
Thank you so much.
Yes, let me add
just briefing at 8 p.m.
Sorry, let me add something on technology. I think we simulated how results, voting and transmission will be done. And we told everyone the first priority is the biometric. If it fails, you go to alphanumeric. And where it fails, you resort to register. And I believe, or we believe, in most areas where the technology failed, the authority was given for register to be used, especially in Kakamega and Makueni, if you've seen. But where it failed, we were using it because there was a chain. And why we didn't use register and cross is because of the Supreme Court ruling, which came to, Court of Appeal, which again referred to biometric being the first priority. That was the reason. But initially the High Court had said we use manual register. So it is because of those scenarios. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Katika tume kama mwenyekiti ako na shughuli, naibu mwenyekiti uchukua mskani. Ndio maana leo mmeniona mara mbili katika hizi press brief, lakini wacha niwahakikishie Wakenya kwamba mwenyekiti wa tume yuko, tumekuwa na yeye kwa boardroom, tunaiita situation room. Kwa hivyo tukimaliza anaendelea na shughuli zingine 2-3, tukuje tufanye press brief, tunarudi huko. In the next brief, he'll be the one to talk to the nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you when we do the next brief.
Our next brief is at 8 p.m.